Upgrades.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS movie review brought to you from the Tribeca Film Festival. This film here is my favorite film of the film festival so far, and this one is called Mountains. Here's a quick synopsis. A Haitian demolition worker is faced with the realities of redevelopment as he is tasked with dismantling his rapidly gentrifying neighborhood. This one is directed by Sorelle. Now, let's just say Mountains is possibly the most touching film I saw at the film festival so far. It is heartwarming. It is a gut punch at times with the way she sets up the story of this small Haitian family and everything that they're going through in this neighborhood. As this is just an ongoing story of everything we get through in this country currently going on with gentrification that is happening here. So we're introduced to Xavier Sr., who's a demolition worker, and we see him get up, go to work every day. We see how hard he works every day to supply the needs for his family. And the backdrop of this is they have a son, Xavier II, or El Jr. as they call him, who clearly has decided to go on his own path here. He's someone who's dropped out of school. He's someone who's pursuing what his passion is. And on turn, we have Xavier's wife, who's someone who's also going after her passion in a way, but also understands that she must take jobs to make the family good, to make ends meet here. As we see the ongoing story of Xavier, we see just the overall struggle that he's going through here, down to him wanting to buy his wife a house in his neighborhood as he's a demolition worker destroying everything in his neighborhood. Now, the house here that he wants to buy his wife is symbolic of everything that's happening in that neighborhood for Xavier Sr. as we see through his prism just the way the neighborhood is changing. Not only that, we see that throughout the whole process, how much he wants to advance, how much he wants to be everything that his family needs him to be, everything that he came to this country to be through this house. The problem is, at the same time he wants this house, he's noticing, or maybe in a way oblivious to the point that the entire community is being destroyed, and he's one of the workers who's helping destroy this community. Now, again, this is a family drama. It is built up perfectly, absolutely well. The performances, Sheila, who plays the wife, Chris, who plays the son, and I hope I'm saying his name right, Atibon, who plays Xavier Sr. The acting is immaculate in this movie. From just the play of the father and son, which is a dynamic that we really need to see from an immigrant father who came to this country trying to make the best for his child, raising an American kid who he still wants to give the freedom to do what he wants, but also is highly disappointed that he's not taking the advantages that he thinks he should from what this country can give him. Down to this loving couple, this loving wife and husband, and he wants to give her everything that he feels she deserves, and that's what the play for the house comes into. Now, there are some subplots here in this film that aren't as strong. One, Xavier worked for a racist boss who basically says the only reason he's hiring black people or Haitian people from this community is because it allows him to be able to destroy the community, and that's why he brings them on. And we see another role played by this horrible boss's nephew in the film. It's a whole subplot that really lends to nothing of importance of the film. It's kind of one of the things where you kind of wish it wasn't in there. Along with, we have a play with the wife's brother, who happens to be a car salesman. He's rich off, and we see some envy in the eyes of Xavier Sr. when the brother is around in a very quick one scene type of play. But again, he's another character that I would say completely throw out of it. Neither one of those characters overall distract you from the point of how excellent this movie is and how poignant it is to the point of gentrification and how it is changing these communities. And then we get to see it through the prism of three different eyes, and that's what makes this movie so good. When we see it through the eyes of the husband, of him working every day, him attempting to get a better life for his family. We see him striving to get this better house in a community that he's destroying. And the way he gets the money to buy a better house in the community is to destroy the houses in the community. But again, he's doing it because it's a job. It's some way where he can make money to provide for his family. It's a weird correlation that they go there, but it works in spades with this film. Then we have the wife who we see get up, go from a crossing guard job to making dresses to providing for her family. You see that she's a natural nurturer, and all she wants is her family to be happy. And then we get the son who's fighting against his immigrant parents, who he feels puts pressure on him to be more than what he wants, more than what they want him to be than what he wants for himself, as he wants to be a stand-up comedian. Which, amazingly, if you understand any community, any immigrant community, any black community, there is a specialty job like a comedian is not something that it's going to be it's not something that's going to lend to your parents being cheerleaders of you. And it's played perfectly here within the third act, an amazing touching scene between Xavier Sr. and Jr. about everything he gave up for his son and what he wants his son to do and how he wants his son to strive to be the best man he can be. It's an amazing, poignant scene that if that doesn't bring tears to the eyes, I don't know what will in this movie. But in the end, it still is a movie about family. It's a movie about community. It's a movie about how the ever-changing landscape of this country is just destroying these little communities that make these amazing people, great people, who came here for a dream of living a better life, and then all of a sudden, because of money, greed, or however you want to say it, it lends to them being displaced and their communities being destroyed. It's so good. It's so good. It's so poignant here. And Monica's an amazing director. This film is shot with so much care, where you feel it come across on just the little scenes, especially everything with Xavier Sr. And just at times when he's just at the work site, and the way it's shot to see everything that he does. It's one scene at the very beginning of the film, right after Xavier Sr. gets off of work, and we see him go through his road home, and we listen to the talk radio station, a local talk radio station he's listening to, and he gets to the front porch, and he takes off his work boots. He finally gets a chance to breathe a little bit, to get himself together, to go in the house to greet his wife, and we see the release of everything he's had to happen during the day for them to make money goes away when he sees his wife and he gets home, and we see that relaxedness come over him. Even when his son comes into the picture, we see that relaxed atmosphere go away, and we get as an audience the worry and the dread he has that maybe his son's not going to live up to what he wants him to live up to. It's amazing the way they put everything together. This is quite possibly one of the best family dramas I've seen in a while. I love anything that touches on, again, gentrification and how it is destroying these small neighborhoods. But it's done with passion and care. It's not a film that feels like it's preaching to you constantly, but it's a film that is a direct message, and it delivers that direct message, and it is beautifully done. Cinematography is also good on it, amazingly for an independent film. Like, it's not a piece of this film that I felt let down about. Again, the two minor nitpicks about subplots that aren't given enough space to become grander elements of the plot. Okay, I get those, but you could just toss those away, because the main piece of this story, the main family aspects of this story is so strong, I think you'll overlook all of those problems. So, Mountains, brought to you from the Tribeca Film Festival. Out of a possible 10, I'm going to give Mountains a 9.5 out of 10. This is a really good film. I can't wait for more people to be able to see it, to at least dissect it, because this is a film that can lead to think pieces about gentrification and how it is destroying neighborhoods. But not only that, I think this is a film that could lend to what it means to have to sacrifice for your family. And how far are you willing to go with that sacrifice? Are you willing to be oblivious of the other things you may have to do to make sure your family lives well? It's another scene, and it's not much of a spoiler here. It's another scene in the film where the family goes to a cousin's house for a party. I don't know if it's a christening. It feels like something of that nature. And one of the other relatives asks Xavier Sr., if you had to destroy my house, would you? If they called on you, if they called my house next to be the house that needs to be demolished, would you do it? And very straightforward, Xavier Sr. said, yes, I would, because that's my job, is to do it. And that sends a very powerful message there. They all laugh when he said it, because I think as a community they fully understand, like, this is still a job. It can't be, what he does for a living can't be deemed as a personal attack on anyone. Because of where they come from, they understand how hard it is to get work, and for someone to have work, steady work, and to be able to provide for their family. It's going to be at times where your morals can't come into play. It's great the way it builds up, and it's great the way it gets to this amazing climax at the end of this film, because we see the progression of the character of Xavier Sr. And that is something that, as I'm watching the film, I'm just hoping we get more of this, and we see the growth of the character. Not necessarily his mind changing about anything, but just the growth overall of the character, and we get that perfectly with every element of this film. This has been another JVS movie review from the Toronto, good God almighty, Tribeca Film Festival. Peace, people.